Hey guys, and welcome to So Fantastic with Tiwa Avanti. And in today's video I'm going to be showing you how I cut an illusion neckline top or a plunging neckline top with a yoke. So this video is divided into two parts. The first part I showed how I drafted the pattern and all the tightenings I did, and in the second part you'll be seeing how I put the pieces together, how I joined it, and what it looked like when I was done. So I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you learn one or two things from it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please turn on your notification bell so you get notified when I post new stuff. And I want to thank you guys for 200 views. Thank you so much to my returning and new viewers. I'm really appreciative that you come by to see what I post from time to time. Thank you so much. Mwah! I love you guys. You guys are the best. Without wasting too much of your time, let's get right into the tutorial. I'm starting with my basic bodice block per usual, and I'm taking 3 inches down from the original neck depth on my bodice block for the neckline. I want a high neckline because I don't know, it's the illusion is going to get to the waist, so I feel like it should be a bit covered at the top. So I'm just going to take a line across, and then I'm going to do my tightening. Okay, so I want to do my neckline tightening, which I explained in the previous video, and I'm going to do, so I'm folding the dart over so I can measure what is on the pattern and then use this to calculate my tightening. So after which I'm going to connect to point D. So the next thing to do is your underbust tightening. So by now we should all know why and how to do the underbust tightening, and why we should. It gives you that really curved, it just makes the garment curve nicely around the bust area, and it gives a better fit, especially for this style, that requires that I may not be using a cup for, because for most illusion neckline styles you don't really use a cup because it shows. But if you have to, depending on the style of illusion that you want to create, you can cover the cup with fabric, nude fabric or something. Or you can also, another thing you can do is to buy those nude type of cups. I've seen them on Instagram. You can buy those. They're a bit pricier than the white type, so you can buy that and use if you have to, or just use a book tape. But once your tightening is right and everything, most of the time you don't even really need a cup. So with my tightening done, I am now going to reshape the line that I took for the neckline. And this is when you have to do this, of course, to align your pieces, so that when you cut on fabric the pieces are well aligned, and none is longer than the other one. That's the need for all this reshaping the line, you're drawing the line and everything. So now I want to mark the depth of the plunge or the illusion. So I marked 1/2 inch at the waistline because I want the illusion to get to the waist, but you don't have to. You can make yours higher. It depends on what you want. You can just stop around the underbust area. So but I really want it to show. I want it to be wide. And also note that this 1/2 inch, when I cut this piece on fold, is going to open up to like 1 inch. So if you don't want it to be that wide, you can make yours smaller. So then after that, I connect it from the 1/2 inch up to the first leg of my shoulder tightening. So, and then you can also make it a bit narrower if you want more coverage too. So the next thing to do now is something called shoulder correction, which is just connecting from the tightening you did to the original shoulder dart. This is so that, you know, this bodice is going to have a yoke, or this style is going to have a yoke. So this is done so that when you cut the yoke part, it's the same with the neckline of the bustier part. I don't know if you understand, because if you don't do this shoulder correction, you end up with a yoke way wider than the bustier part. So in order for you to, you know, correct this or to prevent this, you take a line from the tightening you did to your original shoulder dart. You know, especially when you're working with really stretchy mesh, if you don't do this shoulder correction, it makes the yoke kind of gapes. It doesn't lay flat around the neck area, so it makes it gape, or you have fold lines somewhere around that part, or you have to stretch the fabric. You have to stretch the mesh, you know, and cut it out so that it evens out, or it's the exact same width. Is it width now? Yes, with the bustier part of your pattern. So that's why you need to do the shoulder correction. So now when you want to cut the yoke, you fold over the longest, usually the longest line, you fold it over the other one, or you just fold the part that lays well for you. There's no rule. So here I tested the 2 lines, and the one that I really liked to fold is what I worked with. So you just notice that I folded from the tightening. I just folded that line from the tightening. I folded it over. I picked it from the tightening to the original shoulder dart, and then folded over. So just to show you that you can use you can fold over whichever way. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm using the other line, but the space around there is too much, so I'm going to just use the second line, the one closest to the armhole, so that I can now reshape that part later. You know, it's easier to reshape that way. So I taped the shoulder dart down so that I can cut my yoke. So now with the shoulder dart taped down, the next thing, I want to lower the neckline for the yoke, and this is totally up to you, but usually the pattern I use, the neckline is like always above if I leave it this way, and it's going to sit right above my collarbone, which it may choke a little. So however, at this point, you can, however you want the neckline for the yoke to be, you can do whatever you want. You can do like a Kano neckline, UV, whatever you want, you can do to your neckline at this point. And then I just want to reshape the yoke, that part of the yoke, you know, the part that joins to the bustier. I'm just going to reshape it that way so it curves more and it's easier for me to sew. So now I move, so for the back, and that's it for the front. It's that easy and that's straightforward. You know, all those illusion neckline style, they sometimes look intimidating, but they are really easy to draft once you know how to do all of your tightening. So first off, I lower the neckline for the back. I deepen the neck depth for the back also, because it gaps when the neckline is too high at the back. It makes it gape. So, and then I cut out the shoulder dart. You just measure whatever your shoulder dart is and just cut it out and connect back to your armhole. Just curve it with your curve ruler, just blend it into the armhole. And you can cut out from the neck point too. You can cut out your shoulder dart from back shoulder dart from either the shoulder point or the neck point. I'm doing the tightening for the back too, which I did by measuring what is on my pattern and subtracting my back measurement from it, and then what I got after doing that calculation, this is what I marked and connected back to the waist dart. So I did this style that I've been seeing and I really like. I've been seeing it a lot for the yoke of the back. You know, I don't know what it's called, but you just cut it out. I just went from the neck depth that I already lowered, I went down by like 1.5, and then with my curved ruler I just took a line, I curved a line into, I just curved it out like that, and I'm just going to cut. So this is how the back yoke is going to look. So it's going to have that space at the middle. So that's basically how to cut your an illusion neckline. Your pattern pieces should look like this when you're done. It's really easy. You know, there are different types and there are different styles. I'll make more videos about different types of and styles, how you can stylize your illusion neckline. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and watch out for the next part, which is where I'll be showing how I cut these pieces on fabric and then joined together, and then you see what it looked like when I finished. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next.